Those of you who don't know, my name's Tim Haynes. The town of Yankeetown has authorized me to form a study group to pursue the possibility of a historic preservation ordinance for the town of Yankeetown. Shortly after that, the town of Inglis followed suit, and Kelly Salter is here. She is the head of their study group. And so we have been waiting to get some people with real expertise down here to explain the historic preservation benefits, detriments, and if the towns decide to move forward, the process of doing that. And the states had some travel restrictions during the pandemic. Finally, Ruben Acosta and Mariah Justice were kind enough to make time in their schedule to come and meet with us. Now, I would like to use them to do two things. They are the experts, and I have had lots of interest expressed about historic preservation in Yankeetown and lots of concerns from people. And so I want to try to extract two things from Ruben and Mariah. One is I want them to answer the town's questions about what the benefits are of a historic preservation ordinance and a certified local government. And secondly, I want them to explain the process of moving forward with adopting an ordinance, forming a qualified committee, becoming a certified local government. So that second part of it is going to be all their bailiwick, because they're the experts on that. I'm going to take the opportunity to make a little bit of a presentation here about the first part of it, which is the benefits of historic preservation and the concerns, because as a resident of Yankeetown and a property owner in Inglis, I know more, I think, about what the town's issues are than perhaps they do yet. Now, as I said, we've had lots of interest in a historic preservation ordinance, and we've had lots of concerns. And the concerns fundamentally, and I'm sure you guys see this everywhere, is people saying, we don't want the town telling us what we can and cannot do with our property. We don't want the town to come in and say, you are a historic home, you are now very limited in what you can do with your property. And most people, their analysis of historic preservation is that, you know, we're going to preserve the Mashburn House or the Rock Store or the little homes in what we call the Elf Village in Yankeetown. And we're going to tell the people there, for the benefit of all of us at large, what those people can and cannot do with their property. And the 2 points I want to make up front are, one, and Ruben and Mariah will confirm this, I believe, is that we can adopt ordinances that do not allow a property to be designated as historic unless the property owner consents to it. The second thing I want to stress is the reason that I and Kelly, I believe, and others became interested in a historic preservation ordinance was not directly because of the benefit to the town as a whole of preserving these special buildings and structures. It was because of the benefit to the individual property owner. And I'm going to give you two examples. So, couple has bought a house on Riverside Drive, and these are true numbers, true facts. Has bought a house on Riverside Drive on the water. It's 800 square foot, maybe wood frame, 1940s house. It's not a particularly beautiful example of what I would think of as cracker architecture, but it fits in perfectly with the scale and what Riverside Drive looks like, which we would all agree is a special place in Yankeetown, I think. Yankeetown is maybe uniquely impacted by the FEMA 50% rule. So those people buy this house, and it has a lot of deferred maintenance issues. It needs a lot of upgrades just to be what most of us would consider livable. The FEMA 50% rule says they cannot spend over a 5-year period more than 50% of the value of the structure without bringing the structure up to code. The value of that structure is $20,000, according to our property appraiser, which is the starting point for valuation for the FEMA 50% rule. They can't spend more than $10,000. They can't replace the roof for that price without bringing the structure up to code, which means raising it above the flood elevation. So they would have to take one of these small little 800 square foot houses that is built at ground level, and they would have to raise that up in that area, probably 8 feet up in the air. Well, the chances of them doing that and preserving the scale and the character of the neighborhood and their adjoining houses is not very good. If they are a qualified historic structure, the FEMA 50% rule doesn't apply. They can spend as much money as they want rehabilitating, renovating that structure without having to elevate it off the ground. Now, they are limited in that they will, if they accept being a historic structure, they're not going to be able to change the exterior without constraints. They're going to have to keep it looking like what it's basically looked like, or at least that's the way we would foresee the ordinance having to work. The key thing is they get to make the choice whether the benefits of avoiding the 50% rule and preserving the look of that property for the benefit of the whole town is made, or they can decide not to be historic and they can bulldoze it and build what they want. And so it's the property owner's choice, but it's a real mechanism to allow some of these older homes, and this is basically every home in Yankeetown, probably pretty much west of the Yacht Basin, faces a 50% rule issue. Some of the stilt homes don't, but most of them do. Now, they're not all going to qualify as historic, but a lot of those homes I think would, and we can give people the opportunity for themselves to invest in their property the way they would like to, and then that would ultimately benefit the community as well. Inglis doesn't have